Hello, hello. So, for those that don't know me, I'm Claire. I'm a multi-business owner. I have been in network marketing and community and team building for 20 years, and I am the founder of the Good Vibes Collective. In previous episodes, we have covered lots of tips, techniques, and tools that are applicable to every walk of life, whether you're a business builder, a stay-at-home parent, whether you're in a 9-to-5 job, or you're just navigating life in general. So tonight's topic is building resilience, and I feel like this topic is very appropriate right now. I've had a bit of a break from these sessions. I planned and had a week off for a holiday, but it turned into a month. And I started wondering if I should bring them back at all. Not many people tune in live, so it's easy to think, what's the point? But the thing about resilience is it's not about bouncing back from huge life events. It's picking yourself up from little wobbles, dips in motivation, and times when you wonder if what you're doing really does matter. So for me, showing up tonight is an act of resilience and choosing to carry on because I believe in what these episodes represent. And they represent community, they represent positivity, growth, and real conversations that help us all to keep moving forward. So psychologists define resilience as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, or significant stress. And resilience isn't one single thing. There's a few different types of resilience. You've got cognitive resilience, and that's how we think about challenges and setbacks. We've got emotional resilience, and that's how we feel and how we regulate those emotions. We've got physical resilience, and that's how our body copes with and recovers from stressful situations. We've got social resilience, and that's how we connect with others and we draw strength from our community and people around us. And we've also got purpose-based resilience as well. And that's how our values and our goals help us to persevere. And all of these different forms of resilience, we all have naturally to some level. And today we're going to focus on cognitive resilience, because cognitive resilience is where everything starts. So cognitive resilience is the way that we think in response to any challenges. And it's not about ignoring any problems or pretending that everything's fine. It's about how well we can reframe a situation and process what's happened and find a way forward. For me, when I first paused these sessions, I thought I'd failed at consistency. But when I reframed that, I realised it was actually, my brain wasn't quitting, it was protecting me from burnout. I was juggling so many different things: Avon, the Positive Vibes pet sitting and boarding, and the launch of a brand new business, Tap and See. My brain just needed to hit reset. That shift in perspective changed everything for me, and that's what resilience really looks like. It's not powering through, it's responding wisely and in the right way. So if your cognitive resilience is low, small things can feel like big things. A little bit of criticism can knock your confidence. A small change of plan can throw your whole day out. When you've got strong cognitive resilience, you're more adaptable. You see challenges as lessons and you recover faster when life does throw you a curveball. As business owners or side hustlers or just humans juggling a million things, that skill is absolute gold. The great news is resilience is like a muscle, and that muscle can be trained. I'm going to go a little bit scientific, as I always do. There's a constant dialogue between two different areas of your brain that play a role in resilience. You've got your amygdala, and that's your internal alarm. That's always on the lookout for danger or threat. Then we've got our prefrontal cortex, which is the logical part of your brain. That's the part of your brain that helps you think clearly and make decisions. When there's any form of stress, your amygdala fires up first. It's instant, and you've got that fight, flight, or freeze response. If your cognitive resilience is strong, then your prefrontal cortex steps in then and says, let's assess this rationally. When we make a habit of mindfulness and reframing our thoughts, we're actually training our brain to respond differently. And over time, the connection between those two key areas of your brain gets stronger. So it means that you can recover from stress faster. You can think more clearly when things get tough. So when people say it's all about mindset, they're not wrong. It's actually got science behind it. Now, some of the traps that affect our resilience, cognitive distortion, we'll call it. So catastrophizing is one of them. That is expecting the worst possible outcomes. If I try something new, I'm going to mess it up and embarrass myself. We've also got black and white thinking, or all or nothing thinking. And that's when you think that everything's either going to be totally amazing or totally awful. So if I don't do it perfectly, I've failed. You've got personalization, and that is blaming yourself for things that aren't in your control. Oh, she's upset, that must be my fault. You've got mental filtering, and mental filtering is when your mind focuses only on the negative parts of a situation and completely ignores the positive. So everybody must have hated that presentation because that one person that was sat at the back didn't smile once. Or you've got overgeneralizing, and overgeneralizing is when you take one negative experience and assume that that's always going to happen, or that it defines the whole situation. So I didn't get that job, I'll never get a job. And the key to cognitive resilience is learning to spot these traps and the patterns and reframing them. So one of the biggest tools in building cognitive resilience is that reframing your thoughts. It's basically the ability to change the way you look at a situation and shift the thought pattern from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this. The situation doesn't necessarily change, but the meaning that you attach to it does. And that's what changes how we feel and how we respond to it. Our brains are wired to notice problems and negatives more than positives. That's the negativity bias. Something goes wrong and your natural instinct is to focus on the loss, the setback, the failure. Reframing lets you catch that thought and ask a bit of a better question. So instead of, I messed that up, what did that teach me? Instead of, well, this didn't work, what might work better next time? The power of reframing is that you get to take control of the story that you tell yourself. And the more you practice it, the quicker your brain learns to shift that perspective. And that's how you start to strengthen your resilience muscle. One fascinating thing is that two people can have exactly the same experience. And one of those people might crumble and the other might grow. And the difference is how we think about what's happening. As that quote there says, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Your inner dialogue could be telling you, I can't handle this, or it always happens to me. And your brain looks for evidence to back that up. That's confirmation bias. And your brain wants to prove itself right. If you change that thought process to this is hard, but I've dealt with worse, or what's one thing I can control right now, you're activating that problem solving part of your brain and you're starting to build resilience. You're teaching your brain to respond more helpfully to what's happening. So when I took a month off these sessions, I had two different options. Reaction A could have been, I've failed, people aren't interested, why am I bothering? Reaction B, I needed a reset. What can I tweak to make things more me and more useful for you? So choosing B changed everything. That's that 90% in action. It's not pretending that the 10% didn't happen. It's just deciding who you'll be because it happened. Another key part to building your cognitive resilience is mindfulness, and that word is thrown about a lot. Really, mindfulness just means being fully present, and it's about catching your thoughts before they run away with you. When you're stressed, your brain goes into overdrive. It loves to go into overdrive. You replay what went wrong, you worry what might happen next, you get caught up in the what ifs and the buts. It's your amygdala doing its thing. It's sounding the alarm, it's looking for danger. Mindfulness steps in by focusing on the present moment. It gives your logical brain, your prefrontal cortex, chance to take back that control. And it's not about ignoring your emotions, it's about creating a pause so that you can respond rather than react. Mindfulness can show up in small ways. It could be as simple as 5 deep breaths before replying to a stressful message. It could be sitting with a cup of tea and focusing on the moment before you go back into work. Those little grounding pockets of time that keep you from slipping into overwhelm. One of my favourite grounding techniques and tricks is you sit and name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 that you can smell, and 1 that you can taste in that moment. It sounds quite simple, but it switches off the panic part of your brain and it activates your logic. Mindfulness doesn't have to be meditation or silence. It's just awareness. It's giving your brain space to breathe so that you can think clearly, you can recover quicker, and you can handle life with a little bit more ease. So let's be honest here. Most of us are great at being kind to others, but not so much to ourselves. Self-compassion is treating yourself with the same understanding and patience that you would a friend. It's not about letting yourself off the hook or avoiding responsibility. It's about recognizing mistakes, setbacks, and off days, and recognizing that they're part of being human. When you beat yourself up for not being perfect, your brain reads that as a threat. It triggers that stress response. It floods you with cortisol and reduces your ability to bounce back. When you show compassion to yourself, when you say, okay, that perhaps didn't go how I planned, but I'm learning, then your brain releases oxytocin and serotonin. They're your feel-good chemicals, and they're the ones that help you calm down and reset. Self-compassion has been a massive part of keeping all of my plates spinning recently without burning out. I used to think resilience meant pushing through, even when you are absolutely exhausted. But now I realise that being resilient sometimes means giving yourself a break, stepping back, breathing, and reminding yourself that you're doing your best. One thing that really helps with this is asking yourself, if my best friend were in this situation, what would I say to her? And the chances are that response would be a lot gentler and more encouraging than what you're actually saying to yourself. So try giving yourself some of that kindness and some of that self-compassion. One of the most overlooked parts of building resilience is celebrating your small wins. We're quick to move the goalposts. Once we hit a milestone, we instantly start focusing on the next thing. And if we never stop to acknowledge that progress, then our brain never gets the message that you're succeeding. Every time we celebrate a little win, we release dopamine. And that's another feel-good chemical that boosts motivation and it helps you keep going. It's like giving your brain a pat on the back and saying, see, you can do it. The trick is noticing these little things. Maybe you didn't finish everything on your to-do list, but you did make a start. Maybe you didn't have a perfect week of healthy eating, but you made better choices than you would have done before. And resilience isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Celebrating those small wins really helps to build that persistence brick by brick because it keeps you focused on what's going right and not just what's left to do. Every time you celebrate a win, you're strengthening the belief that and you can keep going. That belief is what will build real and lasting resilience. Now, this one might surprise you. I've mentioned about self-compassion. This one is different. This is rest, actual rest. It's a huge part of resilience. We live in a world that glorifies being busy. If you're not constantly doing something, you feel like you're falling behind. True cognitive resilience isn't about pushing harder. It's about knowing when to pause, reset, and protect your energy. Rest isn't weakness, it's a strategy. When your brain is constantly running on overdrive, your prefrontal cortex, that logical decision-making part, starts to shut down. That's when we make poor choices, we snap at people, we feel like giving up. Giving yourself permission to rest actually restores the mental pathways, and they can come back then clearer and stronger. So I've learned this the hard way. There's been times when I've tried to juggle everything: Avon, positive vibes, tap and see, content creation, life in general, and I've just hit a wall. Taking the month off these episodes wasn't failure. It was my mind saying, hang on, I need a bit of a break. Now I've taken that break, I'm back, I'm more focused, I'm more creative, I've got a better sense of direction. And that's the power of resting before the burnout. Rest looks different to everybody. It could be an early night, it could be going out for a walk with the dogs, it could be a weekend completely offline, or just giving yourself permission not to feel like you have to tick every single thing off your to-do list every single day. The key is learning to listen to your body and brain when it's whispering before it shouts at you and you have that complete block. Resilience isn't built from constant motion, it's built from balance. These little reset moments where growth quietly happens. And it's when your mind finally gets space that it needs to process, to recover, and to prepare for whatever's next. So resilience isn't about never falling. It's about how gracefully you rise, you learn, and you start again. It's not built on big dramatic moments. It's built on little daily choices. Every time you reframe, you take a breath, you give yourself a bit of grace, you get back up after a wobble. That is resilience. I'm proud that I've shown up tonight. It's my own little act of cognitive resilience. And I want you to think about somewhere that you might need to start showing some cognitive resilience, something that you've paused that you could restart, a goal, a habit, a project, or a bit of self-care. You don't have to start big, just start again. Taking that break has given me a chance to reflect on how I want the Good Vibes Collective to grow. And going forward, I want these sessions to be more personal, less presentation and more conversation, more stories, more honesty, more real life lessons that you can see yourself in as well. So you might see me trying some new formats, maybe some shorter episodes sometimes, or some themed sessions where I share real life experiences and how I've used mindset tools to get through them. This community isn't just about theory, it's about life, the messy parts of life, the wonderful parts of life, and the wonderful journey of figuring it all out together. The first change is that the sessions aren't going to be weekly. They're going to be fortnightly Wednesday sessions with some added extras thrown in between. So our next session is going to be on Wednesday, the 22nd of October. Now that is going to allow me to grow other areas of content that's going to be available in the collective and really focus on adding more value to each session that we do hold. So everything we've talked about tonight, reframing, mindfulness, self-compassion, celebrating wins and rest, they all lead to one thing, and that's belief. The truth is you can have all of the goals and plans and tools in the world, but if deep down you don't believe you're capable, it's like driving with a handbrake on. Over the past few months, I've realised how much self-belief affects every part of life. From how confidently you show up online, how you bounce back from setbacks, or how you talk to yourself on tough days. So in the next session, we're going to focus on the power of self-belief, how it's built, how it gets chipped away, and most importantly, how to build it and rebuild it stronger than it's ever been. Sharing some of my own capabilities, sharing some of my own experiences when my confidence has taken a knock, and the exact mindset shifts and little daily habits that have really helped me to find it again. Self-belief isn't something that you either have or you don't. It's something that you grow. And when you truly start to believe in yourself, everything else becomes possible. And yes, you are absolutely right. You do have to believe in your own capabilities. So as always, any questions, we have my email address, my Facebook profile, the Facebook page, and the website. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Drop me a like and a comment on there. And if you haven't already, then head over to that website and grab your free ebook, Mastering Your Mindset and Unlocking Your Confidence. And that is it from me. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.